And we are live. Good evening, everyone. So it's our first show of 2021. So welcome. And tonight's topic today is top tips for building your influence on LinkedIn. So obviously, I'm really excited to kickstart my live streams again in 2021. So again, it's our first show. Thank you so much for finding some time to joining me tonight. And I hope you had a great Christmas break as well, an amazing start to 2021. So as usual, make sure you introduce yourself in the comments. Let us know what you do and where you're joining us from as well. So if you're new to my live show, I'm Jana Martins and I'm video confidence coach, and I help my clients to overcome camera phobia so they can connect with their professional community online through the power of the video. So again, tonight we are going to talk about top tips for building your influence on LinkedIn. And Mark is going to share, obviously, his top tips, particularly how to create regular, authentic, and original content on LinkedIn to build your influence and professional brand. So because for a lot of us, it's a simply lack of confidence. So tonight we're going to discuss how to unlock your potentials by bringing your humanity into conjunction with your experience and expertise. So obviously it's an incredibly relevant topic in today's changing world. So please tag or share with your friends who need to hear this information. So before I'll pass it over to Mark to introduce himself, I just want to quickly remind you that we are going live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So to watch the replays, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So that's the easiest way. So you can switch on the notification bell so you get reminders about upcoming shows. So I'm going to go live every second Wednesday at the moment, so fortnightly at 5:30 p.m. Melbourne time with various experts from my network talking about things like effective communication online, LinkedIn, and personal branding. So we are going to answer. We'll try to answer all your questions from all the platforms. So please make sure you ask as many questions as you want. And also, the most active participants will also receive a nice surprise at the end of the stream. So I'm going to pass it on to Mark so he can introduce yourselves. And you guys, don't forget to put in the comments your name, what you do, and where you're joining us from. Thank you, and welcome, Mark.
Hi, Jana, and yeah, lovely to be on your first live stream of 2021. What a privilege.
Thank you. So please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay. Well, I come from a corporate leadership background, which I left corporate about 10 years ago. I've worked all over the world in the UK, where I'm from originally, which you can probably hear. I worked in London, I worked in Central Europe, I lived in Budapest in Hungary, I worked in Russia. And for the last 20 years, I've been working in Australia. Really, my background, subject matter expertise, if you will, is around was around media sales, selling advertising, that kind of thing. And over time, I sort of grew in my seniority around that, and became more and more interested in actually the business side of running a company. I became a leader. And became really interested in how to lead through change and how to lead others. And so I kind of moved out of media. My last role was working for a large not-for-profit, and I led a business transformation, and we turned a $1 million loss into a $4 million profit across 3 years. And I really enjoyed that. And at the end of that time, myself and my leadership team was made redundant. Which is about 10 years ago. I thought, bugger that's no good. And I guess I always had a bit of a maverick streak. So I decided to set out on my own. And for the last 10 years, I've been running my own consultancy, helping leaders and their teams to build the confidence, skills, and mindsets needed for high performance in a fast changing world. So I do a lot of work about helping people to transform, to bring out their best in themselves, to lead through change. And obviously we live in a fast change world, and I guess talking about what we're going to talk about tonight, a big part of that, I believe, is to help people to build a professional brand, because the world of work's changed enormously. We now need to we're likely to need to work in different ways for ourselves, sometimes as employees, sometimes as consultants, sometimes in different ways as contractors and so forth. So basically, we need to build our own professional brand that helps us to show up at our best. And I've been doing a lot of work in that field in the last 10 years, and really do a lot of executive mentoring. So I mentor I've mentored hundreds of people. I mentor around probably 50 people a year, motivated professionals like people on the call tonight. And as I say, a big part of what I know works for them and the gap they have is around developing the confidence to build their professional brand. And LinkedIn is the perfect place to work all that out. And I'm sure we're going to talk about some of that, Jana.
Yes, definitely. So we have a few people joining us. Great to see familiar faces. Louise is here. Dr. Hari is here. Sandra's here as well. Perfect, guys. I'm glad to see you here. So great. I hope you all had a great Christmas break. Let me know how was your Christmas. Chitan is here as well. Here we go. So we have quite a few people joining. I'm really excited, guys, that you're here. So, okay, Mark, let's start from the beginning. Yes. So today is, top tips for building your influence on LinkedIn. Quick question. So why do we need to, you kind of already touched it up in your introduction, but why do we actually need to build influence on LinkedIn?
Well, I think fundamentally, as I say, we've really. I mean, what most professionals do is they kind of trade on time served in an organisation and kind of their expertise, and their influence therefore comes, I guess, from the brand, as it were, that their employer has, their employer brand. So you might work for, Caltex or National Australia Bank or Telstra, and you trade on their brand, and they're strong brands, obviously. But as we've seen both through COVID and before, everything's up in the air, isn't it? And I talk about this idea of a VUCA world: volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And certainly the last 2020 was a VUCA world on steroids, wasn't it? Everything on steroids, everything changed. And fundamentally, I think we need to take more agency for the way we're showing up. There's no secret. We now live in a digital world. Look at us. We're talking, Jana's in Melbourne, I'm in Sydney. You guys are in different parts of Australia and the world, and we're doing all this. I mean, it's a digital world, and the first thing we do when we're introduced to someone or a company or an opportunity is we jump online, don't we? We're going to Google them, we're going to look at websites, and we're going to look at individuals' LinkedIn profiles. So that's our first port of call. So it makes sense, doesn't it, that we should have our own professional brand? And I think it needs to do four things. It needs to tell people what you know, who you help, how you add value, and why you are different. And crucially, as I was sort of saying, it needs to belong to you. It needs to be portable. So that brand needs to be something that that you own, that goes from engagement or job or role to role with you. Now, really important, it needs to complement and should complement and can complement an employer. So we're not saying this isn't sort of at war with your employer brand. It should complement it. But the reality is, you might work for someone for 6 months. It might be a short-term contract. You might work for someone for 2 years. But either way, you need to build something that's portable, that grows and evolves with you. And I think the best way to do that is through a professional brand, and that's how, in turn, you create influence in your marketplace, whatever your marketplace is. That's how you one of the first ports of call for your influence is having a strong professional brand that answers those four questions. What do you know? Who do you help? How do you add value? And why are you different? That last one's really important.
I really like your point about being portable, because I guess that's a point. So sometimes when we're on LinkedIn, we really put our job description and really, trying to go with our company guidelines, but we need to make sure that we, put a little bit of our personality as well into what we actually post on LinkedIn, and not just resharing something from our company updates. It's actually quite funny. Girls just realized they both work for NAB. So here we go.
I know. I love the NAB. My bank's with the NAB. They keep sending me nice. Every time I've got money in the bank, they want to talk to me. They want to talk to me when there isn't any money in the bank. But that's another story.
I'm not going to comment about NEP, but yeah. So, but NEP definitely have a really strong brand. But how we make it, how we can make sure that we still on brand with our employees, but building our professional brand at the same time. So, what's your top tip on this?
Well, I think a good employee. I mean, you know, I do a lot of work with corporates and other organisations, and I think yeah, today a confident employer is happy to and actually wants its people to be showing up in the marketplace as influences in the marketplace. People who are asking questions, you know, pointing to pain points, coming up with solutions. You know, not just sort of peddling groupthink or towing a company line. I think, you know, because we are in a phase, or in an age of great change, aren't we? And in any, I mean, we can pick going through, you know, Louise or Sandra or Chetan, if I got that right, or Paolo. You know, we could talk with each of you guys, and I can guarantee you going through enormous change in wherever you are in your world. And that creates problems, but it also creates opportunities. So if I'm an employer and I'm employing people in that sphere, I want them showing up online and in conferences and other places as ideas people, as influencers, as thought leaders, as people, you know, as people with an opinion who are problem solvers. And so, you know, if you've got that going on and you've got that coming on in your own professional brand, that should complement the employer brand. That's what I believe, and I think that's what good employers are looking for too. That said, I fully understand there are some employers who would argue strongly against that. And where that is the case, I mean, I guess you need to make your own decisions about you know how you can build a brand within that, but also whether that's the right kind of place for you. Because, you know, if you've got a very sort of it's not the right word, but dictatorial or directive kind of employers, you can't do this, you can't do that, can't do the other thing, and then suddenly, you know, there's a redundancy round or something, and suddenly you don't have a job. You're entirely dependent on their brand, and you've got nothing. You're just someone who used to work at a big, you know, big corporate. So it's something to think about. I mean, I fully get that not all employers would support what I'm saying, but I think plenty of smart ones will.
I guess I'm coming a little bit off the topic in a way, but look, I actually did work with one client that their CEO of the company has mentioned to her, saying, like, you know, you've been showing up on LinkedIn too much. And she's been doing great things on LinkedIn and, you know, building a great brand. And it felt like her CEO got threatened by that.
Very, very possibly, and I agree. I think it's a different conversation. Yeah. But what I would say, without a shadow of a doubt, I mean, two things. I saw a stat the other day that apparently by 2025, 50% of American employees will, in one way, shape, or form, work for themselves and not for an organization. Now, that's a US, not an Australian stat, but clearly the trend is fewer and fewer of us are going to work for. You know, I mean, I'm 55. I mean, I know people who work for 3 or 4 organizations in their whole 35-year career. Clearly, that's not the case. And we all know that they reckon we're going to have 20 jobs or 30 jobs. If that's the case, I mean, clearly we've got to have something that we own that basically tells the world how we add value, all those things that I keep talking about, and is portable. And I think, as I say, definitely the trend is that good organizations are supportive of this. You know, there's a little bit of latitude difference depending on the organization, but I think the good ones, and I'm working with some large, what you would think are quite stuffy corporates who want their people to say, we want our female leaders to be thought leaders. We want our executives. We want our technical people to be more than technical people. So I think the general direction is actually aligned, not sort of a tug of war.
Yeah, but I must say she found a better job after all of that, you know.
But well, that's yeah. I mean, that's another thing. Don't get on the market. Go and find the place where you. I mean, another version of what we're talking about is that, you know, we all want to be in a place where we can show up at our best and to shine and be all we can be. And if you're an employer where they don't want that to happen, I reckon you're not at the right place. Go and find someone who wants you to be the best, because you know, when I'm working with large organizations, I always say, if you get, you know, and I know there's a few people, Louise and others on this call who I know, you know, if you can get your people engaged, aligned, you know, showing up at their best, energetic, doing great stuff, the top line and the bottom line look after themselves. You know, that's just the way it is. So get great people and motivate them, and I think you'll win 9 times out of 10 for sure.
And I guess you already mentioned that for a lot of us out here, so the main thing that's stopping a lot of people from posting more and building their professional brand is actually confidence. So do you want to tell us a little more about this?
100%. So you can thank you, Jana. Keep me on track, because as I can talk, so don't worry about that. And I don't want to be going all night, and you don't want me to go all night. So confidence. So what do we know? We know that approximately somewhere between only 5 and 10% of people on LinkedIn actually create their own content, which is kind of crazy, right? And what my belief, my experience is that the best way to actually build that professional brand, to in turn build that influence, is to create your own content, original content on LinkedIn. But only 5 to 10% of people actually do. And from doing all the work I do with mentoring and coaching people, what I know is the biggest thing holding most of them back is confidence. So they think they don't know enough, they're going to run out of ideas, they're not smart enough, they think people are going to laugh at them, they think all kinds of crazy stuff that well, I can guarantee most of it's not true. But what I do know is that 95% of people all think the same thing. We all think we don't know enough. So confidence is the thing that's holding most of us back from creating content on LinkedIn and other places. But LinkedIn is the obvious place for professionals like you guys to start developing what I call a content creation habit. And the habit of posting regularly original content is what you need to do to get stuff out of your head into the world. It refines your own thinking as you go. And then you'll get clarity on exactly what you are about, how you do help, what's unique about you, and so forth. So we need a content creation habit. Confidence is stopping us, and I think one of the key things about that is because we think about how we're going to show up in a professional context as in LinkedIn. Usually, what most people show up in 2 ways. They show up in their expertise, which is about what they know, and their experience, which is where they've been. And what that does is positions you as a credible subject matter expert, which is awesome, but it's not enough. And you're actually missing something, because it can be a little bit dry and a little bit kind of, 10 leadership ideas, 4 things accountants should be doing about blah, blah. It's good, but it's like a little bit boring. And what we do know, right? I mean, there's no one on this call from all over the world, Cape Town to Melbourne to wherever, who's going, oh, I've got nothing to do today. And we're all inundated. There's way too much content. There's way too much to do. So if it's boring, we ain't going there, right? We're going, nah. So we need to create content that's going to engage. So the third thing we need to do is actually bring our essence in conjunction with our expertise and experience. And fundamentally, I talk about this idea that it's our humanity that's our point of difference. It's not what we know, not expertise or expertise. It's our humanity, and that's about our essence. And our essence piece, that's about our here we go. So thank you. Here's the map. So our essence is about who we be. That's our passions, our traits, our what we're about, what we're interested in. And when we bring our essence and, if you like, our personality in conjunction with our professional world of expertise and experience, as well as being credible subject matter experts, we also come across as authentic and engaging and convicted. We believe what we're talking about. And that then becomes attractive, and that then becomes our point of difference. Because our point of difference, we can have 10 experts in the same field with the same experience, and what distinguishes them from each other is not their expertise or experience, but it's where they, it might be where they live, what their hobbies are, other things they're doing, and that's what's unique and that's what's interesting. And that's the kind of content we need to actually start to create, because it's engaging. And when you actually understand that, you're, oh, okay, I can write. I've got a ton of content. So it's not, if you're in, for example, in the leadership space, it's not about having 5 amazing leadership ideas, because there's thousands of amazing leadership ideas. But it's about, maybe you've got 5 amazing leadership ideas that you bring to life in the context of what you're passionate about. So, for example, I'm passionate. One of the things I do, I row surf boats, which are I'm going to picture some, but they're 7 meters long. We go out into the ocean. Yeah, there's a picture of one down the bottom underneath. Yeah. So we go out into the ocean, 5 guys in a boat taking on the waves, I call it exciting scary because it's on a it's exciting, but also if there's big waves, it's really scary. But fundamentally, it's about teamwork. So when I talk about 5 leadership principles, I write content like five leadership lessons from a small boat, or leadership lessons from a small boat, and I'll talk about 5 things about coordination, balance, keeping in time, having a strategy, knowing when to go, knowing when to stop, things like that, which are basic leadership ideas. But when I put them in the story of a surf boat going out into the ocean and being successful or not successful, it adds color and uniqueness to it. And also I can write 100 things like that. And whatever your thing is, whether it's pottery or dance or orienteering or train spotting or families or volunteering or whatever those things are, if you can bring those things into your content, not just random, I'm not saying just like Facebook, here's a picture of my cat, I'm not just saying that, but when you can actually bring it into conjunction with other things you're doing from the expertise and experiencing, that's when you get unique content. And fundamentally, what it means, and this might sound a bit grandiose, I don't know, it helps you to actually show up as who you really are. And when you can show up as who you really are online in things like LinkedIn with your content, suddenly it all gets really easy. But I know there's quite a lot of work to get there. We've actually got some, Jana, if you can show some the slides of the 3 different posts, I might talk to those to give people some, the 3 different posts, 3 different LinkedIn posts. Here we go. So here's that's exactly the right slide. So I'll talk about this idea of telling your story openly and often. And obviously this is my story. So what I've got here, I've got 3 LinkedIn posts. Now we use posts, not articles, because posts get a lot more views than articles generally. But we can spend more time on that if we've got time. But simplistically, posts, they're limited to 1,300 characters, which is what, 200 words, 250 words. They're short to write. You put them in there, and it's kind of snackable content. People will like them and respond to them easily, much more so than articles, which don't get the same kind of readership anymore because no one's got any time. But if you go back to that slide, Jana, what I want to show you here is, so first of all, look at all 3 of them. You'll see that the left-hand one has 1,900 views, the middle one has 2,200 views, the right-hand one has 2,800 views. So that's all heaps of views. But the point is this: the left-hand one, which is a picture of me and a guy called Alan Hewitt. Now, that's a picture of me and my first ever mentor, and it was taken in the UK a couple of years ago now. And Alan was my first mentor, and it's a gorgeous picture, and the picture is, tells the story of itself, doesn't it? And what I really say is, here's my first mentor, and he taught me the power of this and that and the other thing. And it was really not very much about mentoring. It was a little bit about mentoring. It was basically about a celebration of, handing on learning. And, people were drawn to that. So it wasn't heavy, but it got a whole load of views. The one in the middle is a kind of little bit more technical about some of the things I do about transformation and reinvention. So that's more, if you like, sort of a more up and down expertise, experience type piece around leadership and change. But then the third one, the third one, which actually got the most views, is a little story about me going to the Apple store in Sydney and asking to go to the toilet because I was busting. And then the genie guys, those really helpful people. He came out and said to me, he says, right, we've got new management. They've closed the toilets, like it was some brilliant idea. That the toilets existed, but the management decided that they didn't want the toilets anymore, which I thought, that's so Apple. Apple, they want your money, don't they? They want the technology, but they don't actually want your humanity, which having to go to the loo. But being the genie, which was the funniest thing, he said, you know what? But it's okay if you want to go to the toilet. You go to McDonald's next door. He actually directed me to the toilet. Anyway, so I wrote this funny little anecdote. And I said, and the joke was, Apple don't like small numbers like ones and twos, like number ones and number twos. They love big numbers like $3,000 and $5,000. And that little joke there. But that, 2,800 views. So my point being, that's me showing up, sort of little slices of life, little observations. And, I rotate through the week. I probably do 3 posts a week. And this is quite typical of the kind of posts and activity I'm putting there. And I think it's that idea, bring all of you to the game. So we're telling a little bit of story about expertise and leadership and so forth, but you're really giving a slice of life of life in Sydney, surf boats, going back to England, meeting old people, it's quite rich, and therefore it's unique, and therefore it's engaging. If all I did every day was, right, here's another 10 leadership ideas, here's another 10 leadership ideas on social media, here's another 10 things on this, people go, yeah, I get the guy's smart, but you know what, there's 1,000 people like him. And that's the point. So my encouragement to you guys is bring all of you to the game in your content that you're creating.
100%, Mark, can relate to all you've been saying. And people do like stories, people love real examples, and people love metaphoric examples as well. And, you know, again, one of my clients have a really similar success story. She was doing posting about leadership lessons from the gym, you know, where she was comparing her joining the gym, and she's doing like weightlifting, and comparing to her business ideas and how she did the team building in your business as well. So all of these metaphoric examples and examples from the real life that brought to the business ideas, they usually, because it's more, as you said, it's more human, and people getting the idea quite easier, and because it's emotional as well. So you can relate to the emotions when you're actually reading the story about the real person, instead of just reading some facts or blunt examples of, I don't know, how you should do this or how you should do that.
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah.
I was going to say, and I think one of the things that people get tripped up on when they're trying to build their content, they try and get very clever and kind of almost academic, and they think everything I do, it's got to be very lofty and technical, and it really doesn't. There's a lot of power in bringing simple ideas, simple concepts to life, you know, through your experience and in your marketplace. So that example of, you know, leadership ideas from a gym is perfect, you know, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, most people on here, if you're trying to help people, and all the mentoring I do, in fact, I was saying this to an HR leader the other day, you know, I've spent most of my time learning a whole lot and then actually getting rid of most of it, because it's doing the basics well. That is what most people need. So if you can get basic ideas across in a way that land with people and people engage with, you're helping them enormously. You don't need to be, you know, teaching them all to be PhDs or clever. Just the basic things done well in a way that people can relate to. That's great content on LinkedIn. It doesn't need to be overly complex, overly long, or overly kind of, you know, elitist, if you know what I mean. So simple done well is very powerful.
And guys, thank you for staying with us all this time. So question for you: what is stopping you from creating more content on LinkedIn? I did ask before in the comments, how often do you post? So let us know, how often do you post, and do you want to post more often? And maybe, you know, what's the reason you're not posting more often? Yeah, so give us the honest examples. I guess for a lot of people it will be time. So a lot of people would say, like, I just don't have time for it. So Mark, what do you think?
I think that's the same as people saying I'm too busy. That's a terrible excuse. It just means what it actually means. Seriously, that's a lazy excuse. If you haven't got enough time, it means you're not putting enough priority on it. Because I honestly believe everything I said. I think everyone on this call needs to have a professional brand, so they have influence and choice in their marketplace, choice of getting a promotion, getting a new job, being shortlisted, being selected, because that's the reality of a competitive marketplace. We need a professional brand. So if that's true, then, and I believe, and I've been doing this a long time, then LinkedIn and creating content on LinkedIn is, I believe, the best way for most people to get started. You don't need a website. There's all kinds of other clever things you can do, but just turning up consistently on LinkedIn is a great way to build your professional brand at the basic level and get it going. So I actually think it's an absolute imperative, and it should be a priority. It should be the first thing you do in your day, not something you do occasionally when you've got time. Otherwise, nothing will change. You won't have a professional brand, and you'll remain one of those 90% of people who has no brand, and therefore you are a commodity. You're as a professional, you're a commodity. You're worth whatever the market says you're worth, because you're not unique. If that makes sense. So
Sandra comment exactly what I just said. She's working 9 to 5 at NAP and then work after hours on her own business.
Sandra, that's brilliant, Sandra. So you can join. This will sound like a horrible plug. Sorry, it's not meant to be. This is the reason, people, I created a thing called the LinkedIn Accelerator Club. Okay, it's $29 a month in the 14-day free trial. If you don't want to, it's free. Have a go. If it's no good, stop it. But what it is, thank you. And it's really, I haven't come on here to plug this particularly, but the reason I created this is because of people going, I haven't got enough time, I'm too busy to do stuff. So what we do, and Louise on here is one of the members of the LinkedIn Accelerator Club. I mean, because everyone is busy, everyone's wrestling with the same things that I've identified about, you know, not quite sure where to start, what not good enough, run out of things to say, all those kind of things. So that's why we created LinkedIn Accelerator Club, which is basically a community of people. We all do the same thing at the same time every morning, and we post a post, probably not every day. Most people post 2 or 3 times a week between 7 and 7:15 in the morning. And then what happens is everyone in the club, that we all share and like each other's, you know, each other's content. And that, I mean, technically on LinkedIn, what that does, it means it gets served to more of your people, and there's more chance more people will see it. But more importantly, it's a bit like we talk about that gym thing. You know, if you ever go to the gym, going to the gym on your own is hard, right? If you agree and you go, oh, it's too rainy, I can't do it this morning, I'm too busy. If you agree to go to a gym with a club or with a mate, and you arrange to meet your friend, then you're going to go, right, because you don't want to let your friend down. Going back to my rowing boats, one of the reasons I do rowing is because, you know, it's enforced fitness. You can't go, oh, you know what, it's the middle of winter, it's 5:45 in the morning, it's a bit, I don't want to go rowing this morning. You got to go rowing, because if one person doesn't, the boat doesn't go out. You get to do that once a season, okay? You get to not show up once a season, be like, that's it. And that is that lovely built-in accountability. And that's why we built LinkedIn Accelerator Club. It's a built-in accountability. We all show up. Louise will tell you, others will tell you. And it's like, you know, there's a guy called James Clear who wrote a book called Atomic Habits. And he said, what you need to do to create a new habit is you need to go to a place where your desired behavior, i.e. writing content on LinkedIn, is the normal behavior. Yeah. So like going to a yoga class where everyone else is doing yoga. If you want to learn how to yoga, go to a yoga class. Don't try and do it on your own in your garage downstairs, you know, which never works, right? You get all enthusiastic, then you stop doing it, and then that yoga gear's out on the next council clear up, right? Yeah, we've all done that, right? So we've created a community. But I'm not trying to plug it particularly, but that's how you that's how you do it. You have an accountability. And the reality is, whilst initially, it might take you, I don't know, 45 minutes to write a post. Once you do it regularly, you get into a rhythm, and you probably write it in 15. It takes maybe 10-15 minutes. Louise is probably the same. You know, you get into a system, you get doing it, you write little series, and it actually becomes very easy. But also, and this is my point, and why I don't actually obsess particularly about how many likes or views or whatever you get, it's a really good way to think. Because if you're writing content, you're actually thinking, and you're thinking, what is it I'm about? What do I want to, you know, where do I want my career to go? What do I want to be known for? And subliminally, if you're creating content, it's a thinking process. So by creating even 1 or 2 bits of content a week, might take you an hour to do it, get into a habit, and before you know it, you can do it. And it will turn from being a chore to actually something you enjoy. So I didn't mean to pick on you, Sandra. Yeah. 9 o'clock, you've got plenty of time to do it in the morning.
And I like your point. It's definitely a habit of verbalizing your thoughts as well. Because, you know, sometimes we have all these ideas, but we never actually sit down and write them down. And maybe you're writing those posts and not getting that much engagement as you maybe wanted to get, but it's also helping you to structure your own thoughts as well. I can definitely relate to it. Like every time, it takes me longer usually to create posts, because majority of my posts is videos, so it takes a bit more preparation and time. But I must say, every time I actually sit down to script my future videos, that's helped me so much to actually simply order my thoughts. Yeah, just put some sort of structure on the knowledge I have in mind, and it's maybe just somewhere all over the place. So, and definitely like creating is a habit, and you know, we need 21 days to create a habit in general.
Exactly. And as Louise, I'm just looking Louise in the comment. Louise is saying that she and Louise, she writes 4 or 5 times a week. She's crazy, more than me. But yeah, she's helping. She's in the process. She's writing. She's creating content for a book. So I mean, this is the thing. You're not just the content aggregates. You can use it in different ways. Obviously, we're talking about LinkedIn. You can put it on Facebook, you can put it on Instagram, you can put it on whole different places. But I still maintain the main benefit the major benefit is it gives you confidence, because you do get affirmation. You put stuff out there and people, that was great. You get ideas and you get feedback, and then you get connections. And the connection obviously is what we're trying to do in terms of ideally building our brand, commercializing. Maybe you'll get work if you're a consultant. Maybe you'll get approached for a job. So it's a really good way of doing that stuff. But you build confidence, you build connections, and fundamentally you get your thinking out for your head. Oh, I could do this and I could do that. I could do that. It actually become, it's a writing and thinking process that it becomes a habit. And there's lots of good stuff that happens out of that, especially around confidence and clarity, as opposed to overwhelm and confusion, which is, with so much, what's going on at the moment is where a lot of people find themselves, I think.
Yeah. And basically even helping you to be more precise than you trying to get your message across. Because you have a limit on the amount of the words you can put, as simple as it is. And it's actually, I know that a lot of people in the beginning, and maybe you can relate to this as well, struggling to just put one thought in the post. So a lot of times people want to, and I want to say about this and about that and about that, but it's actually all these thoughts that coming to mind. That's your whole week content right here, if you just split it on the 5 different thoughts.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, I've had people, and some of them are actually in the club. I've had people who they would tell me that they were terrified, right? Their first post, one lady told me she spent 3 hours. She wrote the thing, and that she spent 3 hours plucking up the courage to press send on the, which was to post this post on LinkedIn. And I tell that as a funny story, but I also tell it to illustrate. I understand how people get really nervous about this. And a lot of work I do is to help people. Sometimes I give them a bit of a shove in the back. I say, just send it. No one's reading it anyway. No one's going to read the first one. And just get going. And like everything, once you get the first one, I go, okay, the world didn't end. I didn't launch any nuclear rockets or anything. I didn't get 100 people jump on me and tell me I was a fool. And then you do a second one and a third one, and you get into that habit, and you get a flow. And slowly over time, you build confidence, and also you build a body of work, such that if someone goes onto your LinkedIn profile and says, okay, what's different about Jana from these 10 other people who did this stuff? Oh, Jana's got this content, she runs this, wow, she's interesting. I'd like to talk to Jana about the job I've got. I'd like to engage Jana. Whereas if I go to Jana's site and it's just just a picture and like an old resume, and it's like, well, what's different about Jana? Really? Not much, right? And that's how this whole thing works. And it's not an overnight thing. It is a habit I think you need to develop. And I guess hopefully we've given people in this short piece an insight to understand why, but also understand it's the big piece. It's an investment I think absolutely everyone should be making. So you make time for it. No one should be too busy for it, because if they are, you're probably not giving it a big enough priority, or the priority. I mean, just one man's view, but I believe it's absolutely imperative for every professional to have a professional online brand today in a fast-changing world where everything's up in the air. That's my belief. And if you're going to do that, then content creation is the way to go, and LinkedIn posting is the best medium to get that habit going and get that sort of frequency and consistency, which is what is the basis of good stuff.
Luis saying, I said to the client, I'd rather read about your success on LinkedIn now and not wait till your funeral.
There you go. There's a quotable.
Good point, Liz. Thank you so much, everyone, for sticking around with us. We're about to wrap the things up. Please hit this like button if you got some value from our today's discussion. Give us some thumbs up. And so before we're gonna wrap up the things, Mark, tell us a little bit about what you do. I know that everyone who joined us today can receive a free report from you as well.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things I'd recommend you might want to think about if you want to find more about this. So firstly, I've developed a thing called your personal professional brand report. It takes 5 minutes to do. You answer 9 questions. and in answering those 9 questions, you then get a personalized report that tells you where you are on what I call the influence style, from asleep to awesome. So it's asleep, agitated, active, amplified, and awesome. Asleep are those people who go, oh, don't contact me on LinkedIn, they've got no picture, and awesome's obviously awesome. So you get a good report, and baked into that, and it's free, baked into the report is some more ideas and some information about how you might want to move and evolve along the lines we've been talking. So that's a free thing you might want to look at. We've mentioned also,
we'll drop the link in the comments. Just make sure we drop the link straight away.
We've also mentioned, look, guys, if any of you are interested in joining the LinkedIn Accelerator Club, as I said, look, I literally set it up because I had a lot of mentoring clients and we were doing lots of clever stuff, but I couldn't find the vehicle to get them into that content creation habit from which the confidence and everything, all those other good things flowed. And that's why I co-founded the LinkedIn Accelerator Club with a lovely lady called Lynn Kazali. Look, jump in, have a go. It's $29 a month, so it costs next to nothing. There's a 14-day free trial, so if you join it and hate it, you can leave it, and so it's really no risk. But as I say, fundamentally, and we've got a couple of people from the club, Mark and Louise and others in here tonight. It just makes it makes you turn up, because we all got to turn up together, and you get feedback from the group, as Mark says, and it's easier, better together, right? So that's LinkedIn Accelerator Club. So that's a really good way to get that content creation habit going. And then the last thing, if anyone's interested in going a bit deeper, I'm actually launching in a couple of weeks a whole sort of immersive online program about we've actually renamed it. It's actually called Building Your Professional Brand. So we're changing it as we go, but it's almost finished. It's going to be very good. It's basically everything I know about this, based on doing this for 10 years, coaching hundreds of people. It's condensed into what I think is a really good online program. I'm very proud. I've co-created with another guy, and I'm absolutely really blown away by how he's pulled it together and sort of brought it to life, and it's engaging and innovative. We're launching that in a few weeks' time. The full price is $900, and anyone who's interested, who's on this call, who Jana introduced, I'd love to offer you a 50% discount. That's be $450. So if you get in contact with me, we'll get emails and we'll get you ready to jump on that as soon as it's launched in a few weeks' time. But so yeah, free report, LinkedIn Accelerator Club, $29 a month. Give it a try. Love it, stay. Don't love it, go, whatever. And then the Building Your Professional Brand online program, which again, all these they all kind of roll up into each other, because I've been doing this a long time, and what I know is condensing all those things. And you know what? The thing to take away from today is only 5 to 10% of people, i.e. your competitors, are doing this well on LinkedIn. So if you're doing it consistently, a couple of posts a week, then you're winning. And we talk. I love to talk about this idea of what's in your shop window. So if I jumped onto your LinkedIn profile now, what would I see? Would it be like an empty shop on the left, or would it be something that's full of content and brings to life your personality and projects you're working on, client stories, bit of humor, bit of color, if you like, that's going to make you stand out. That's going to tell me why you're different from 100 other change leaders at a bank, or 100 other accountants, or 100 other dentists. I've got a dentist on the call. What's different about you? Bring it to life with a brand. Start telling your story. Start creating content, and that will make your shop window just look better. And then people will come inside and connect and hopefully transact with you. Sounds simple, doesn't it? And it really is. But you need to.
I guess the last thing we want to mention, that building your professional brand is a deliberate choice. So remember, nothing stops you. It's a choice.
100%. And you, so it's where are we? It's the 3rd of February. This stuff doesn't do itself, and I think one of the mistakes that a lot of people make, a lot of professionals make, is they think that because they're experts they have influence, and that's partially true. But I think the kind of influence, to be a professional influencer, to have a professional brand and bring it to life along the lines we're talking about, that is a next step. So being a subject matter expert is necessary, but it's not sufficient. You need to bring your expertise and experience to life with your humanity, with your personality, and the best and easiest way to do that is through the content. And in turn, that's what builds your influence, that then creates all those possibilities for you as a motivated professional who's got a brand that says to people, hey, this lady, this guy, they're interesting. I want to speak with them. I want to give them a promotion. I want to engage with them. I want them in my network, as opposed to whatever, which is, if you think about it, what we all do every day. We will scan on LinkedIn and see people, and at some point we're choosing them, or we're choosing to not choose them. Like, boring, crap picture, nothing going on there, been at that job too long. We're all making judgments all the time. So we need to make it easy. We need to make our shop window look amazing, so that people come and buy us. There you go.
100%, Mark. Thank you so much for all this value that you brought to us tonight. I hope you guys enjoy the conversation, and I do hope that it's actually really encourage you to actually jump on your LinkedIn and do at least something, And you don't have to post 5 times a week if you're not ready, but just make it a habit. Post once a week. That's it. Just make it a habit to post once a week. Just not for someone, maybe just for yourself, just to just express your opinion and show your experience, and ordering your own thoughts. So just make this little commitment to yourself. So it doesn't need to be a huge one. We all know if we make a huge commitment to ourselves straight away, it's not always go that right. So if you make a commitment to go to the gym 5 times a week, usually doesn't work that quick. So at least commit to once or twice a week, and then you can always build up after. So I made a commitment for myself to do my live streams, and so I've been doing them weekly I've been doing them daily in the beginning, and then I've been doing them weekly since July, and now I'm back in 2021, and I'm back to doing it fortnightly at the moment. And I would love to see you on Wednesday, the 17th of February. And our topic on that Wednesday will be how to effectively deliver your message on camera. We'll be talking about Jeff Sly, who actually worked on Channel 9 and been doing a lot of media training for years and years to a lot of corporates and politicians to make sure that they deliver a clear message on camera. So make sure don't miss that one. It will be in 2 weeks on 17th of February. So, and Mark, we already past 45 minutes. I'm always trying to finish at 45 minutes. Mark, I think I never managed to do so because it's only so much to talk.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
And I guess the last quote from you. I don't know if you want this to be your last quote or something else, but I thought this one.
I mean, that's what I help people do, to think, to do, and to be more. I mean, I just encourage you, take action on this stuff. Don't just go, oh, that looks really good, Mark, I should do that. Put a note in your diary, make a commitment. If you've not done it before, make a commitment to change, put it in a diary, and it should be just as, commit to that just as you would like a KPI at your work, or a business meeting or something. Just put, and the way to do it, if you're going to post 1 or 2 posts a week, write them out ahead of time. So you're not trying to write them in the morning. Just do them ahead of time. Commit to doing that. An hour a week to doing 2 posts. Start to post them and just stick to that habit. For even if you did that for 5-6 weeks, you'll find it will start to work. But don't just go, yeah, I should do that, and don't do anything about it, because then you'll remain as one of the 90%. And I say it's an active choice, but make that choice today. I implore you to do that, because there's a lot of good stuff on the other side of it, I promise you.
Perfect. So think, do, and be more. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us tonight. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, everyone.
See you.